Oh, on the off chance there's anyone out there still watching this, we really love you. Okay. Yeah. All right, we're good. And so, does one of you guys have the live stream up right now?
Yeah, I'm seeing two windows in there. Oh, no, it's fixed, I think.
Yep. And we're going to go full screen again. And on the off chance anyone's still watching, we're very, very, very sorry about that. This should be a lot better, though. Okay. Oh, my thumb's over. I was like, what's going on with my camera? Why can't I see? So, what we were talking about PUBG, and
and I interrupted the conversation.
Well, and then our stream totally shit the bed. So anyway, John, in terms of PUBG, you guys have been doing the squad stuff. When you say that you're getting a lot of top 10s, I guess you're implying that there's more than 10 squads in a single match?
Well, I mean, I guess that'd be top 10 out of 25 squads for a total of 100 people.
Yeah, so every game as it starts right now, one of the other big things was it's 100 players. So no matter how you slice and dice it, if it's duos, then it can be up to 50 duos. If it's squads, it's up to 4 people, right, John?
Yep.
Yeah, so it's 25 squads of 4, and then the whole thing where you don't get penalized to hop into another game after your whole squad dies or after you die, so on and so forth.
So you just keep rolling.
So the biggest new thing and what I've seen get the most fanfare in the past week and a half was the whole official. So this game is now officially a game, isn't it? They had the one.
I haven't seen that. I've been playing it on Xbox, and I still very much consider it in beta or whatever on Xbox.
Does it have the second map on Xbox?
No, it doesn't have the second map yet, so that's part of that as well. A lot of people compare it to when it first came out on PC. Buggy-wise, connectivity issues, that type of thing.
So has it been
still early,
though? What's the frequency of patches?
I'm not entirely certain, to be honest. I'm not entirely sure.
So
I'd say it wouldn't be as often as on PC.
Well, I just wasn't sure if, since last week, if there's been any noticeable difference, if the frame rate's gotten better, if the connections have gotten better, anything that...
No, not really. Nothing along those lines. You still have matches where, it's PUBG, the game crashed or whatever, but it is incredibly addicting and intense. And you just sit there hearing vehicles around, knowing that if you get out in the open field and they see you, you're slim pickings, and you have to get out of there and get in that circle. Or
so have you played it on PC at all?
I haven't. I don't have a PC yet as of now.
Okay. So, So how long has it been on an Xbox?
Not very long. It was newly released on Xbox a week or 2 ago.
Oh, no shit. Okay, I didn't realize it was that recent. Oh, okay. So hence your sudden fandom. I got you.
Yes.
Okay. So this is obviously something that you're going to be in on the long haul for, I guess.
We definitely have a long way to go because we don't even have the second map yet on Xbox. So it's, definitely got a long way to go.
Yeah, but if you got Ben and Lawrence with you, though, that's a good group to play that with.
I have a lot of other friends, too, that are playing it. And, they have a lot of friends they're playing it with. So I don't think it's going to be an issue of having teammates and having people to play with, things like that, which can be an issue in some games as you go down the road.
And you're streaming this every Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central.
Yes.
Excellent.
Right now, PUBG, yes.
Well, and actually, you know what? I think I'm going to finally tune in for one of those this upcoming Monday. Monday nights are always tough, but I do need to check one of those out because, I've never watched it when it wasn't some hot 20-something girl playing it and screaming a lot.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a lot of fun. Even if we don't necessarily win, sometimes we have a lot of fun, or we get really salty, and you're gonna hear the team start getting mad. It's fun that way. It's funny.
That's cool. So, anyone watching, I want to apologize for the connection issues we've been having, and the quality. The stream quality is a lot better now because I cut over. So now I'm tethered to my phone, so I'm terrified of what my phone bill is going to look like now. But but anyway, one of these weeks we will have no echoes and no shitty frames.
It'll happen.
I feel real good about next week. So, in terms of what you're playing, I think that's about it for now. There was something that popped into my head that I wanted to say, and I just totally lost it. So, are you guys ready to talk 2018?
Yep.
Okay. Lots of silent nods. Good. Okay.
2018.
That's why we have a video format. It translates well.
Yeah, but one of these days I'm going to actually start uploading the audio to iTunes. I'm just really lazy, and
I just thought
But
it was
anyway.
fun. The week where we're having a horrible frame rate, we decide to do an active motion that probably nobody will pick up on.
yeah. Well, actually, no. Now the stream quality is a lot better. I can actually look over here and see my laptop. That's the capture machine, and I mean, I always look great, but now it's actually fluid motion.
Yeah, I mean the bats in the cave that you got going on. I mean it's almost high def.
Okay, so what we're going to do now, we're going to talk each of us are going to have 3 games that we're hyped for in 2018. I had to revise one of mine at the last second because I didn't do my homework and I didn't realize it'd been pushed to 2019. Ernesto, are you touching your nose because you're trying to tell me something?
No.
Okay, good. I was like, shit, do I really have boogers? Yeah, so we're going to talk top 3 games of 2018 that we're each hyped for, and then we'll move on to the next section. So, Anthony, what do you got?
So we just want to do one each and just go around.
I don't care. Whatever you guys want to do.
So, first one is sort of it was announced last January. As far as I know, it's still on the docket for 2018, but it's actually the Fire Emblem game that got announced for Switch. Just because I missed this series for a long time, but the biggest thing keeping me from playing through the last game, because is somebody in the restroom?
Why do you ask?
Just from the noise. So,
Oh, that's water.
Awakening, when it came out on 3DS, I absolutely loved the game. And it's so rare that something grabs me enough to make me play a portable system because I don't have a public transit commute to work or any good time. If I'm playing something on a portable, I have to sit down on a couch and say, instead of playing something on this nice TV and surround sound, I'm going to hold my awkward 3DS and play through something. So it takes a lot to make me play it on a handheld. So once they announced Fire Emblem for the Switch as an actual main game entry, none of that crappy like Destiny Warriors spinoff or whatever the hell the other game was, I got really hyped for it because I love the series and I know if it comes out on the Switch, I will get into it a lot easier. So definitely, as long as, and last I looked up, it's still slated for 2018, even though they haven't really shown anything solid on it. That's definitely my top Switch game that I'm looking forward to this year and one of my top 3.
So where did Fire Emblem start? Was that like a DS series originally?
No, it goes way back.
To what?
Original Game Boy in Japan.
No shit, really? Wow.
Or Nintendo, one of the
think,
two.
What was the first one that came out in the U.S. though?
In the U.S. was DS.
The original DS. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So is this like
no? It was Game Boy Advance. It was Game Boy Advance.
So
Okay.
is this like a turn-based
Yeah, it's like a-
strategy series? Like,
Sort of like Final Fantasy Tactics ish is
Oh,
the best thing I could
okay.
compare it to. Really good story in my opinion, but yeah, it's that type of game. The biggest thing that actually turned me off to it was the default difficulty. If your characters die, they're dead. And that was a difficulty in almost all of these games. It's a weird sort of thread that they have. Even going into something like XCOM, it always seems odd to me
I
that
was going to say,
yeah, that's just a thing that everything in this genre. But I loved Awakening on the 3DS. I even though I had missed the previous games, but if you turn it on easy, it's not permadeath. So I'm not sure if that's for every game in the series, but at least the 3DS ones. If you're thinking about trying it out, both those games that I've played have been excellent, and I haven't had issues with the difficulty just turning it down. So I'm
how's the roll dodge though? That's very important apparently.
no, that's the beauty is, and actually it's sort of funny. I'm not sure if there's any variance on the harder difficulties, but it pretty much is like spot on where you know exactly the damage you're going to do to somebody before you attack them. So it sort of plays into the strategy where you're trying to mess around. And Ernesto, I'm guessing by what you said, you'd played it. I can't remember if critical hits alter that or not. I think that they do, if I remember right.
Yeah. I haven't played it in a while either. I do know that Awakening was the one that started the whole difficulty and the not losing your units forever, and then
Oh,
every
I happened in on the first one where I didn't have to deal with that awful.
right, and then from there on onwards, like they have implemented that because they gained a much wider audience when they started doing that.
Yeah, because I think even what was the Genesis game? You could set it to have permadeath. I don't know what it is with that genre. There's always a big deal, and what's funny is to have permadeath, you almost need to not have a main character, which
Right.
is because otherwise, yeah, you have too many fail states. But yeah, that's one of the big ones. I can't wait to actually play it on a console. I know it's been on consoles in the past, but I'm not sure if it's any of them with that modified difficulty. Like I think it even came out on the
No.
Wii. And it's been-
Every other one would be like usual hardcore. Like the GameCube one, it's really famous. It actually has a huge cult following because it's so good. But I own it and I never finished it because it got so hard and I started losing all my good units. I was like, screw it, I'm done.
Yeah, because for a while this seemed like Final Fantasy back before it was popular enough where if it was coming out in Japan, it was a crapshoot whether it was going to come out in the US. Now I think after the 3DS games, it's reached that saturation point where it's popular enough if it gets announced in Japan, it will come to the US, which is
So Anthony, did you want to do all three of yours?
why don't we do
Or-
one each and just keep going round
Sure.
robin?
So my first one is one, and like, it's not going to surprise anyone here, but Pillars of Eternity 2, Deadfire. It's the sequel to Pillars of Eternity, which there was this magical stretch of months back in 2014 through 2015, but it was basically like it was Dragon Age Inquisition followed by Pillars of Eternity followed by The Witcher 3, where Dragon Age is like my yeah, and happiness kind of got blown out. And side note, I'm amazed, and this is a whole other discussion. I'm amazed how much I've soured on Dragon Age Inquisition since it first came out.
Me too.
Pillars of Eternity, it was the first in the franchise. It was one of those early Kickstarter darlings where, nobody was making the old CRPGs anymore. And had just lost a major deal with a publisher that they still won't name that basically bankrupted the studio. say they got to a point where they laid off everyone but 8 people, but then kept telling those people like, "You're coming back soon. You're coming back soon." And then the Kickstarter was a Hail Mary, and they weren't even sure it was going to work. But they were like, "We think that there's an audience for this kind of game because they keep telling us there is, but publishers don't agree." And then, the Kickstarter was huge, and then the game went on to actually sell a tremendous amount, even beyond the Kickstarter. And the Kickstarter saved the studio. And so anyway, so Pillars of Eternity, it was the first game of its kind in a long time. It's a ton of reading. The combat was, you guys want to talk about kind of iffy combat. That was the one part of the game that I was kind of like, yeah, we're turning it way down to baby mode because this shit's kind of a mess. But the writing was top notch. The lore of that world is just amazing. And yeah, I mean, it was like playing through almost, I'm trying to think, like a good book with sort of dodgy combat. Like, I don't know. Anyway, and then as soon as I finished it, I was like, yeah, I'm ready for more. And there was an expansion called the White March. Yeah, the White March. And then there was nothing after that. Like, they did some novellas, they did a novel, and I've been yearning for more. I love that game so much. And someone's turning on an Xbox.
Yeah, I was just realized I could put the stream on my TV.
I just realized you could play PUBG while Blaine was talking.
Yeah.
No,
I'm gonna play.
I realized I could give us a view.
I'm gonna do a quick chicken dinner while this motherfucker talks about RPGs. No, but anyway, Pillars 2, they've sworn up and down that they've quote unquote fixed the combat. Like I said, I've mostly avoided the beta because that's a game I want to walk into totally fresh. I may finally break down and play a little bit more, but yeah, Pillars of Eternity 2. If you like quality story, if you like reading a lot, but yeah, the voice acting was really good too. Like it wasn't fully voice acted, but it was like maybe 75% voice acted. And yeah, like I said, the story, the lore, the environments, everything, and even the art was just gorgeous. So yeah, so that's my first big one for 2018. Ernesto.
Let's see. Which one I want to do first? I'll do the surefire one that I know, even though I haven't seen anything of it, I know it's gonna be amazing. And that's Red Dead Redemption 2.
Shit, I forgot about that game. Yeah, okay.
Because Red Dead Redemption 2, Rockstar. When has Rockstar ever made a bad game that's not Manhunt? Never,
GTA 4 and 5.
Hey,
No, man, those are freaking great. Anyway, Rockstar has a good track record, and I just love the first Red Dead. I'm usually not one for like westerns or any kind of like from that setting, and the first Red Dead Redemption like actually turned me to kind of liking that kind of setting, and it's the reason why I watch Westworld actually.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
But yeah, man, Red Dead Redemption was just great, man. It was an open world action game, but to me, I treated it like an RPG. Like I was just living in that world and just going around hunting and doing all kinds of quests, and the story was so good, man. Like I really enjoyed it. That it was something really different for its time, and I won't go into it because I don't want to spoil it for people that haven't played it. But the way like games usually have an ending and that's it, and then this one like had an ending and then it kept going, and then that hit an ending and then it went after that to show you like events after the main game, and it was just brilliant the way it did it. I thought it was they did something really good, like especially when they evolved that series from the first Red Dead on PS2, which was kind of like a whatever game, and then they turn it into like this open world GTA inspired Western.
Here's something interesting. The way that you just described it, because I skipped over it. I wasn't interested in Red Dead Redemption. And what's funny hearing Blaine get hyped about it is I told him before he bought it, it looked like his type of game, and he would give it up within a week. And he bought it. It wasn't his type of game, and he gave it up like in a week.
Oh
So-
no, it wasn't that long. It was like a day.
Yeah.
Oh no.
So here's the way that you described it, where you're like, the epilogue had an epilogue. It really sounds like when they made the game, they had a full vision, they accomplished it, and they were done. And they haven't touched it for so many years that also somewhat supports it. So is this either A, they just know that they can cash in and people want it, and they're just going to make it just because they know that it's going to make money hand over fist? Or is it B, you really think that they had a creative desire? And if that's the case, do you want them to continue the story that has 3 endings? Or do you want this to be just a completely unrelated game in this world?
It seems like it's gonna be a completely unrelated thing because the Red Dead Redemption had an epilogue, which had an epilogue. That story is done. I see it. I don't see it going any further. It could actually go, but this one they actually revealed it's a prequel. So it looks like it's gonna look into how the original gang from the main game was made. In that sense, it like first reaction is yeah, they're cashing in on the success of Red Dead Redemption, but I kind of got the impression with Grand Theft Auto 5, these guys are really passionate of what they do. Like they just don't release a game just to release it. They take their time. They don't care about like pushing the game back. They'll release it when it's done. And I do feel like even though they're cashing in on the success of the first, I also don't necessarily think they're just doing it to do it. It seems like they're like passionate about making this a proper sequel to the original, just using what they learned from GTA 5, and that's why I'm excited about it because of what the newer technology could mean for a Red Dead Redemption sequel.
Yeah, it's funny. I bought the game twice, because I do that, but the second time was the final time because like I actually held out on the second purchase for a long time because I was like, this is going to come to PC someday.
Never did.
Motherfucker never did. And then Microsoft is like, hey, we're going to do backwards compatibility now. And then everyone but Jay got really excited about it. And one of the early backwards compatibility games was Red Dead Redemption. And then I was like, yeah, I'm going to get that. Oh, and hey, I'm going to buy the DLC too. And then I turned it on, played for like 20 minutes, and I was like, nah. And now, I mean,
It breaks my heart, dude.
well, like I rode on horseback for a long time, and I was like, maybe this eventually ends. And then I don't think I had the patience to find out. It's hilarious because like I'll play through Tournament Tides of Numenera, which is like hours of text and not much happening, but it's really interesting. And then whereas John Marsden's on a horse and he's talking to some other fucker, and then I think it's interesting. I don't know. I'm just a terrible gamer.
And I just enjoy exploring that world. And then the story, what I found brilliant about it is your main purpose is to basically complete your vengeance, so to speak. And then you complete it, but the game doesn't end there. And the character just goes, I guess I'll go to my family. And then for a period of time, you're just in your like ranch farming, and then it's like going to the town and getting milk and shit like that. And I was so into it because what game does that? What game like just ends and then you're like just chilling around, and then after that it picks up again, and then there's another story. But the way that it did that, I thought it was really, really cool. And then there's
They just basically
an extra part after
so they just basically threw a chunk of Harvest Moon in the middle of your Red Dead.
What? Right. No, the game ends and he's like, well, I'm going back to my family. And then he goes back and then they start rebuilding the ranch that they had left basically out of commission because of all this going out. And he just rebuilds the ranch and he like buys cattle and then he starts like just developing this. It's not long and it's not like annoying to play at all because you're into the story, like to see what's going on with this character. And then, you know, things happen. Like, man, I wish you guys would play it, man. It's so damn good.
Well, how long is the main, or how long is the game? I mean,
I'm gonna say it's 25 to 30 hours, maybe.
it's not too bad.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's basically typical Rockstar length. I think.
Well, and I fell off Rockstar when the game stopped being like, well, what I thought was fun. Where GTA 3 and Vice City were like they didn't take themselves that seriously. And then I remember playing 4, and I'm like, what is this like almost grimdark, like super grim tale? And yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, Red Dead 2. I mean, it was amazing watching the internet kind of like go on fire or catch on fire when that was actually announced. So, yeah, John, what about you?
All right, I just like to preface this by saying Davlinati in chat there says his top 3 games are Far
Oh
Cry
yeah, I
5,
was about to read that.
Red Dead 2, and Hearthstone expansions. I think he's got some pretty solid choices.
Yeah.
But my first game I'm looking forward to, I think it's coming out pretty soon, Monster Hunter World.
Yeah.
I am really excited. I haven't played any of the Monster Hunters, but I've always kind of been intrigued by them. And I cannot wait to be hunting some monsters with my friends, you know, tracking them down. I guess there's a lot to learn, a lot of in-depth, especially with the crafting systems. But 40, 50-hour main campaign length, they're saying. I'm hyped. We're gonna stream and play the crap out of it, I'm sure.
Yeah, even that one I'm getting. Yeah, well, like I've never played a Monster Hunter, and then Ernesto was like, "You
Me
have to
either.
buy this. If you don't know, I'm not gonna talk to you ever again." And
Right.
so I did. But he said it all
My
in
thing
Spanish.
about-
It was really intimidating.
My thing about Monster Hunter is this is actually the first time I'm really excited to jump in because I have tried this game since Monster Hunter 3 because I have a group of friends that we normally like play like Souls games or stuff like that. We play together and they're like super into Monster Hunter, but I never been into the handheld Monster Hunter games. I just find them like really uncomfortable. And then they're really limited gameplay and engine wise. Like you have the map is divided by squares and the squares are all numbered, but every time you enter a new area there's a long loading and then you're in the next area. It feels very compartmentalized. I just don't like it, man. I tried it for so many times, but the Monster Hunter World, like, it's because I always said if they ever release this on console with a comfortable controller, it would make a hell of a difference. And when I tried Monster Hunter World, I was like instantly like, oh, this is what I always wanted the series to be. There's no longer a world map divided by little squares. Everything's like a seamless map.
Yep.
But they did divided it like in a dotted line to put numbers because a lot of players are used to playing that way. So, like for example, you would find the monster and you'd be, oh, the monster is in 18, and then you look at the map and you go to 18. Well, they even though it's an open world map with no divisions, they still divided the map so that new players are able to play it like a regular open world, and then old players are going to be able to play it the same way. So it's catering to both sides, and I think it's pretty brilliant the way it's not only with the map. There's so many things like skills and the way you use the weapons and everything that it's just geared both to new players and the original fans of the game.
And I can't wait personally. You know, I know it's soon, but I'm not sure exactly when, but I can't wait personally. And I know they were saying there's a group that wants to they're trying to pair veteran hunters with new hunters so that they can show the new hunters the ropes.
Oh yeah, there's a website called Adopt a Hunter,
Yeah.
Huh.
and you basically have a veteran Monster Hunter player show you the ropes and teach you how it's done. It's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
So
I thought the community surrounding it was pretty cool as well already. You know, pre-release.
And let me tell you
yeah,
right
that's
now,
gonna,
the Monster Hunter community, as much as I hated the handheld games, it's probably the best
Mhm.
community I've ever been in. They're so nice, man. Everybody's so helpful. It's probably that they didn't have microphones, but man, everybody like was always so nice, willing to help out. Like just texting, like you would find people willing to like help you out if you needed help with anything. So I hope that transitions well into Monster Hunter World.
so guys, I'll tell you what, we're lagging a little bit behind here. Just like we lost some time with the stream dropping, but then also we just talked too much. So let's go through the next 8 because there's 2 more for each of us. Let's do each one in 2 minutes, if you guys think that's possible.
Sure.
All right, Anthony, why don't you go?
So my second one on this list was Detroit Become Human.
Oh fuck! I should have put that on mine.
It's I really like the previous games that he's done, but the main thing is just the way that first of all that setting, you're going to draw me in immediately. There's just something about that futuristic, anything dealing with cyborgs and humans, and
Very
probably
cyberpunky.
the themes about what makes us human, and is there a soul, and blah 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 blah. Any of that stuff, you pretty much have me right off the get go. The second part being the whole interactive storytelling thing. Definitely is another thing I've really been a fan of, even though I've skipped most of the Telltale games, because for whatever reason, those stress me out. I didn't have that issue with Heavy Rain. I see a lot of head shaking from Blaine.
Blaine
No.
will remember that.
Oh my god, that was a hilarious joke.
So everything that I've seen, and I saw the longer like on stage demo, and I loved how that played out when they played it at what was that, PSX Experience or whatever.
Yeah.
Some bullshit.
Yes, thanks, Fiasco.
Yeah, I forget what the hell. That's the only part that I found interesting in that entire show. But the game looks great. As long as it has an excellent story to pull it together, I think it definitely has a chance to be in my top 3 at the end of the year. So that's why I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm definitely hyped for that one too. I wish I put it on my list, but I don't know. So my second one it's a gamble, and I'm afraid of it. I'm afraid of how it's going to be handled, but because of the developer, you guys know I'm on board, which is going to be Anthem. And I have so much, not stress about it, but it could be great. But everything, it's funny. If it was any other developer, I wouldn't pay attention at all. Like I would sail right past it. But because it's what's left of BioWare, I'm going to give it a chance, and I'm going to be very eager to try it. I will be the first person to try out the beta, and I just really hope.
Bioware is what I call it.
I mean, it's there are a handful of core people still there, but and I'll tell you what, the thing that gives me the most hope: Casey Hudson's back, and Casey Hudson's in charge. That is a very positive sign.
You don't think the developer is going to force it into being Destiny 2.5 with mechs?
Ugh.
The developers won't. The publisher might.
Or yeah. Just that's my only worry. Otherwise, yeah, I think the game looks stunning. Like when they actually showed the. From a graphical perspective, I thought it looked great. And that
was all fake news, man. Like, I mean,
you think that was all like pre-rendered, or?
No, I don't think it was pre-rendered, but I think it was in engine without anything else going on. And I mean, let Watch Dogs be the the lesson there.
Well, that's why I actually didn't put it on my list. Is just because
Yeah.
I'm weary of that. I think that it has a lot of promise, but I think a lot of stuff has to go right.
The things that are in its favor are EA maybe learning a lesson from Battlefront 2, and the fact that Casey Hudson's in charge. Like I said, everything else about it, I was like, I would have sailed right past it if it wasn't BioWare. So, Ernesto, what you got?
My second one is also a gamble, not as high as yours. It's a gamble because we haven't seen anything like substantial, but it's Spider-Man for the PS4. Why? What was the face?
Okay, just so I put the question out there. Are you confident this is not a QTE fest?
That's I don't know, man. We'll see. I'm placing my hope that it's not.
What if it is? If it is, does that diminish it for you?
No, yeah, definitely. But the developers like got aware of the reception that that trailer got, and they went out and said, "Yo, this is not a QTE fest. Believe us. We're gonna do some gameplay stuff later down the year, so you guys can see like more open world stuff."
Good.
But yeah, they were aware that that's what it looked like, so it kind of put me at ease when they like. I don't know who interviewed it. I think it was Polygon, and they pretty much went out and said that that's not how the game is. It's just when you're putting up this gameplay stuff, that's what looks the best to making a cinematic presentation like that. I have hopes for it. My hope is basically it's Insomniac. They do great games. I love Ratchet and Clank. I grew up with Spyro. I pretty much loved them since I was a kid. Spider-Man is my favorite superhero. I know it's not a popular opinion with some of you guys.
No, it's fine. No, actually, the last movie made me like Spider-Man more.
Yeah, man, I really like Spider-Man a lot. I like what his character is about, the struggle of being a hero and being nobody at the same time. And then my biggest point of hope is Sunset Overdrive. They mastered that flow of combat, like just going from stationary to like being grinding, going up buildings, jumping down, and then everything's so damn fluid.
Is that the same?
They nailed
developer?
that. Yeah,
No?
yeah.
Oh, wow.
So I might be way off. Who did Infamous?
Infamous was done by Sucker Punch.
That's it.
Okay, crap. I was getting them mixed up then.
No, Sucker Punch. They did the Infamous, and now they're doing Ghost of Tsushima.
That's right.
But no, yeah, they did Sunset Overdrive. Man, that game, like the gameplay just it was so stupid, fast, ridiculously like just going up and down buildings and jumping down, attacking an enemy, doing combos that way. And if they did that, I know they could like transition that into Spider-Man and have a great game going on. And I've been seeing some Spider-Man footage that wasn't shown at E3 that basically shows the same demo done but in a different way, and it looked more open. So I have high hopes. I think it's I really want it to be like a great game, and if it is, it probably might end up being my game of the year.
So here's
my we'll see what happens.
My biggest fear is repetition, and they make it too long for no reason, which sort of they play into one another.
Uncharted syndrome.
Oof.
And that's just based on what I've seen that's why I brought up Infamous is I think they did it well, but it's because they could introduce whatever powers they want. Whereas Spider-Man, I think it's just new ways to use webbing, which is my only concern with it.
My thing is, I want it to be like fun to traverse the open world.
That's the key.
My hope resides in it being like a spiritual sequel to Spider-Man 2, which I played on the GameCube. And man, I love playing that game. Just swinging around, it felt so good that you actually had to shoot a web to a solid object. You would have to shoot like a building or something. Like it wasn't just like shooting a cloud magically and then just
Yeah.
swinging from that. It felt real. Like it was so fun to play. And that game was very repetitive. Like I think the cycles were like rescue people from a burning building, take a
why-
pizza from a pizza delivery guy and take it to whoever had to get it delivered to. And then some stupid kid would let go of its balloon, and you would have to go into the sky and get the balloon back. Those were the missions,
So that
and I had a blast with
that's
it.
why I brought up my concern is because I dropped it pretty quick because for whatever reason, Spider-Man, based on his powers, like you make an X-Men game, you can play as 5, 7 characters or whatever. That's how you get around repetition. Spider-Man traditionally, that's my only concern. Is
I remember
Yeah,
I
we'll
did
see.
everything in the GameCube version, and then once you do everything, what's the guy from Evil Dead? Bruce
Bruce
Campbell?
Campbell,
Campbell.
Ash.
Yeah. He's the narrator for some of the Spider-Man movies, I think. He's in the game, and then he goes, "Wow, you did everything. We didn't expect anybody to do everything." Okay, so congrats, I guess. And that's it. That's your only reward for doing everything in that game.
That's awesome. All right, John, what do you got?
Mine, unfortunately, was also Anthem, but I was just,
Oh no.
I was really hyped by, the customizable javelins, how they can affect the gameplay, the mechanics, these big weapons, hostile environment. I want to kill monsters. I want to feel like a badass in a mech, and I want to be able to customize that mech my way.
So that's so interesting because you and I are both have this game, but we're coming at it from completely different directions.
Mhm.
Where, yeah, I mean, like all that sounds great to me, but I was like, BioWare, okay, I'm there.
Yeah.
But then I was also like, it might also suck. But in your case, you're actually looking at the feature set,
Yeah.
like you should.
Yeah. Your story, his systems.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
So now, in terms of the E3 trailer, how much, like, was there a particular moment for you that really clicked? Or?
I'm not sure. I do keep remembering that one part where he targets like 1,000,000 of those little dudes and just unleashes hell
That was awesome.
on them.
Yeah, Iron Man.
That part stands out to me, and it's just like I want to be able to wreak this massive destruction and just be this awesome badass. And then it seems like it's going to be a lot of fun.
Well, what was that? I love mech games, and that's what sort of drew me to it. And now I'm trying to remember the name of the PS2 one, Zone of the Enders.
Oh yeah. Wait, hold on.
Okay.
Let me jump in here. Zone of the Enders was the free game that came with the $50 Metal Gear 2 demo.
Yeah, that's
At
why
first.
I got it.
I remember we got so many Zone of the Enders traded in, like within a week. I mean, it was just.
I played the Metal Gear Solid 2 demo endlessly at Babbage's. And then I finally saved up enough to buy Zoe and play it at home. And then after 2 weeks, I'm like, I guess I better try this Zoe game, see what it is. And I ended up loving it, man. Like I was like, whoa, this is actually cool. They gave me this cool game with this demo.
That's funny.
When I was a kid, like Macross Plus was one of my favorite anime. I guess you could call it a short series. It was really just like 4 episodes. So I've always loved like that type of mech stuff, and that's why Anthem had me at that. That's why I was really impressed by that video, because I don't think somebody's done a recent amazing mech game. The last one that I played that I can think of, because I used to love even like the Mech Warrior games on PC, and those haven't come out in forever. And there was a Japan only Xbox game, something about the president being taken or whatever.
I remember that one.
Yeah, because I had that on my.
I think it's the president is in the mech, I think.
Oh yeah, or no, you play as the vice president or something, or the vice president's the bad guy. I don't remember.
It was some crazy shit.
Completely nutty.
Hey, side note, real quick, Tony. BattleTech by Harebrained Schemes. You should look into that. It's coming out this year. It's not on my top 3, but I'm getting it, and you might like it.
Those are the Shadowrun guys, so
yep.
I have high hopes. It looks really, really good.
Yep.
Is that a spiritual successor to like a Mech Warrior?
It's the same guy, like the Jordan Wiseman. Yeah, Jordan Wiseman, and like it's his private
Okay.
studio now. Harebrained Schemes. They did all the Shadowrun games that came out the last few years.
They're really
And
good.
So maybe that just jumped above Anthem on my way.
yeah, it looks amazing. But yeah, but Anthem looks really cool too. Ernesto, did you say something about Iron Man with
Yeah, it reminded me of the first movie when he like lets go of all of the lasers.
Oh yeah.
Really cool.
Yeah, that's my favorite Marvel guy. But yeah, actually, it's funny. I hadn't made the Iron Man connection before, but that's a good call. Yeah, maybe if I think about it more, I'll get more excited like that.
Yeah. Think more Iron Man, less EA.
Yes. We'll see if EA lets me do that.
Mm.
All right, Anthony, what you got?
So my last one is probably the safest one that I think I'm gonna love. That actually my only fear is that it will suffer from Uncharted syndrome, and that's God of War.
Ooh.
So I actually loved playing through the first three games. They're sort of like a guilty pleasure, you know. Hey, they're just fun to play through. Great spectacle. I had, you know, from beginning to end, I had a good time. I skipped over the handheld, the PSP, and the Vita games, but the core three games on PS2, I just really, or PS2 and PS3, because the third one came out on a PS3. I loved them. I thought they were fun. This one seems interesting. I like that they're trying to do more of a story angle. I like the character actually. I think that whole world and things that I've seen them do with the characters in the first three games make me interested to see what angle they're actually doing for the story in this one. And my only worry about it is the statement that it was going to be like 30 or 40 hours. I think they made that at one point in one of the recent ones. So
Man, that game should
part
be
of the
8
reason
to
I
12.
love God of
That's
Huh?
it. I want it to be like 8 to 12. That's it.
And that's the only thing that has me pause a little bit is part of the reason I loved God of War is those were all like 6 to 10 hour games. So they come out every few years. It had good combat. I had fun. It did this weird twist on I mean, it was nothing compared to the original mythology. They were really just yanking the names out and some basic designs. But it was entertaining and I got what I wanted out of it. This one, they're leaning more into the story angle, which I think is interesting. I don't know how they're going to incorporate the kid throughout the whole thing, but after Logan came out, I don't know why I'm getting a weird Logan vibe from it. Like the way that Logan handled Wolverine, I get that vibe with this game handling Kratos,
Mm.
and it's
See that now,
fascinating
yeah.
to me.
I'm sure now I won't be able to unsee it.
So I think it looks cool. That's one of them that I'm buying almost no matter what, even if people are getting some sort of mixed opinions on. And I'm just really looking forward to what the hell they're doing with it.
So my last one, you guys, you guys probably actually, well, whatever. Neverwinter Nights Enhanced Edition.
Does that count as a new game?
I don't know. Well, okay. And the main thing with that one isn't even the campaign; it's the community that surrounds Neverwinter Nights. It's just like Ernesto was talking about the Monster Hunter community, and like Neverwinter Nights. I mean, just more from an armchair developer perspective. Community for that's just as it's quieted a little bit over the years because the game's so old, but it's still vibrant. And
so you're waiting on a re-release of a game, not for the content in that game, but because you're hoping somebody else will make something good for it.
Well, no, they are. I mean, Beamdog's already working with established modders for it, and yeah, I mean that because the core Neverwinter Nights campaign in that game is kind of crap. I mean, it just is. Like all the narrative talent went over to work on KOTOR. And
Are you sure you don't want to Detroit Become Human? I'm just kidding, Jim.
No,
And I just like to throw out Mr. Last Hill says that God of War is good. He's looking forward to God of War
Yeah, Chris is on the chat.
in the chat.
yeah, it's so funny. Like with the a lot of the PlayStation games, I just kind of sit there quietly. I mean, I love Horizon Zero Dawn. I enjoy Uncharted, and Detroit Become Human looks amazing. And but yeah, it's funny. A lot of it is, I mean, I just don't have a track record with them. For me, God of War peaked with the X-Play skit about Kratos going on a date. Which, if you've never seen that, go on YouTube and search for X-Play Kratos.
I'm gonna have to look that up.
It's about the funniest thing you've ever seen, and the what they got away with on that show is just amazing. And like they always joke, because nobody was watching. No, but anyway, but Neverwinter Nights Enhanced Edition is, like I said, it's the campaign itself isn't even on my radar really. It's the everything that goes with it, like the mod tools, the modding community, and just the crazy shit that people have churned out over the years.
So you're really looking forward to like RPG Maker 23.
But with more of a Western bent than people remaking Final Fantasy IV over and over. You know, or like Final Fantasy IV with more sex. You know, but yeah, so.
Actually, sounds kind of cool.
Who was the main, because like, what's her name? What's the main gal in that? It's,
On 4?
yeah.
Cecil?
No.
Rydia?
No, the gal, who?
Rosa?
Yeah, and her dad's there, and you have to behave yourself because her dad's there. So maybe there's like a mod for Final Fantasy IV where you kill her dad early on, and instead of whatever. Ernesto, what's your third one?
Now I'm kind of scared of what sort of stuff you're gonna mod in Neverwinter Nights, man.
Just what's that? Rule 34?
Yeah, Rule 34.
Yeah.
My last game. I'm not even sure it's coming out this year, but they pretty much said it would. But the game doesn't even have a name yet, and it's Project Octopath Traveler.
Oh yeah.
This is from the people that made the Bravely Default games, and it seems like they pretty much like know their shit by now. They released the demo on the Switch. Man, it's really really good. I love JRPGs, right? But I'll be the first to say that some of these JRPG stories are kind of like, even when you're like grown up and you see this kind of like cliche stuff of our JRPGs, it's kind of hard to swallow. This one,
teenagers saving the world again
with amnesia, and then you burn their town, and then they go out for revenge, and then there's a girl with big boobs, and yada yada yada, whatever. This one, the story was actually mature. Like, you can either play as a girl, or the girl, I think she's like a prostitute or a dancer or something like that. Tragic story. And then the guy is a mercenary. He used to be like a really important knight. And their stories are like really well thought out. It's instantly interesting. The voice acting is really, really solid. And I don't know if you guys have seen this game in motion, but it's just looks so good. It's like an 8-bit game, but they play around with the lighting. So the lighting is like really cool lighting that you would see in a next gen game, but it's incorporated into an 8-bit game. Like, it just kind of reminds me of a 3D Dot Game Heroes on the PS3. I don't know if you ever saw something like that. Saw that game. It just looks really cool. Like, if you can like look up a video of this game, it looks really really nice. And then the combat, it's simple enough, but it has some strategy to it. Like, you can hold out your turns like in Bravely Default, so you can choose to like play defensive for a couple of rounds and then go all out with a charge attack. It plays into the strategies. Every character has a different way to interact with NPCs. Like, the dancer can recruit people to go on adventures with her. Knight can fight people and get items and stuff like that, or solve quests that way. Like I had a guy who was kind of like down on his luck, just gambling his life away, and I beat him up. And then he's like, "Oh, thank you for beating me into like realizing I've been doing bad. Like I'm gonna do good now." It's just so weird. Every character has a different way of interacting with the NPCs in the world. I'm just really looking forward to it. The story's great. The graphics are awesome. Music is really good. It seems Square Enix is really hitting its stride. Finally, after so many years of being down in the dumps. So I really do hope the game comes out this year, and I'm really excited for it.
All right, John, what you got?
My third game was Kingdom Hearts 3, actually. I played the first one, never quite beat the final boss. Played the second one, beat that. With the third one, I'm excited. I didn't play any of the in between games, but I hear they're bringing a lot of the mechanics that people like, fine tune them, and are culminating them all in the Kingdom Hearts 3. And so I'm actually pretty excited about it. The games have always just kind of been fun, kind of like lighthearted. You know, I'm not so sure I'm enthused about all the worlds I've heard about, but they're bringing back some classes like Hercules and his arena. I always thought the Colosseum was awesome, like fighting Titans from Hercules and stuff in the first one. It was intense. But I'm looking forward to that. Huh?
I'm excited for Toy Story.
For Toy Story, yeah, that world should be fun. It's actually going to be an original storyline, I guess, between 2 and 3.
Oh, cool.
So it's going to be like a 2.5 little story or something. Yeah, which they normally follow narratives more or less along the storyline of the movie, but for that one, they created the new narrative, which I think is cool.
I've actually never played a Kingdom Hearts game. That's going to totally unsurprise some of you. And it just never popped on my radar. But the people that have played them are like fanatical in their devotion and love them. And so, I mean, there's got to be a quality series.
Yeah, they're fun games. I mean, they can be hectic and stuff, but they're a lot of fun. And this one allows you to have 5 people in your party instead of 3, so there's going to be a lot more party dynamics, I think.
See, and
Okay.
I don't like Disney that much, which is unfortunate because I
You
saw
okay?
all the Final Fantasy cameos, so I second game, and I still have it on PS2, never opened. And then I bought the remaster of all of them, that collection, on PS4.
Yeah.
And as I was picking it up at Best Buy, like I'd done the ship to store or whatever when it was on sale for like $20.
Yeah.
I was picking it up and I was looking at it, I was like, nah. And I returned it on the spot.
Oh no!
Wow.
I knew I would never play it.
Wow.
Actually, I've been thinking about streaming them, but it's such a huge endeavor to like stream all of them. There's like freaking 27 games at this point.
Yeah, and because like now playing through them involves some math.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because there's 2.8 remix or some shit like I can't.
Yeah.
No, I think
2.8 is called 2.8 because
all these different
it has the 2, and then there's a 0.5 that's the movie, and then there's a 0.3 that's the little DLC that ties into Kingdom Hearts 3.
And there's also the 365/2 game or something.
Right.
Oh my God, that's right. Yeah, because I remember there was one that was an unfinished equation.
I heard great things about the PSP one, Birth by Sleep, but I never tried it. But Birth by Sleep is the reason why I bought the HD remake, because I wanted to try that one at least.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I wish we had Mike here because he he could absolutely school us on every part of this. He's a big Disney guy.
And that is really the catch.
And I always thought it's funny they merged Disney and Final Fantasy. Like I always thought it was funny. I don't know why.
Well, and they changed Squall's name. I remember that.
They did?
Yeah, see, he's not called Squall in the Kingdom Hearts games. He's called Leon.
Steve?
I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Leon. Yeah.
Oh, Leon, that's right.
Yeah, because he's Squall.
As in Leonhardt. His weapon.
Yeah. That's well, and it's fun. Like I was like, well, they did the whole retcon with Eris and Aerith, and
Mhm.
in that case, they're like, oh, well, we fucked up the translation, the first time, so it's actually Aerith with a th, and I was like, no, it's not. That sounds dumb, and like Eris forever. But yeah, but then Squall to Leon, I'm like, that wasn't a fucked up translation. I was like, I don't know what that was, but so.
Real quick, a better game that ties in all the Final Fantasy games. It's World of Final Fantasy, and I love
I've heard
it. It's
that.
kind of chibi looking and stupid. It's a really cool game.
Yeah,
I
well,
just
remember,
wanted to throw it out there.
you and Allie were both gushing about it.
Man,
Yeah.
I'm really liking it. It's really cool.
I almost grabbed it when it was on sale, but since it was Square Enix, it was on sale by like $1.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, I could pay 59 instead of 60. And I'm exaggerating, but it was not much of a sale.
I think they were planning to release it on Steam if they haven't already. So be on the lookout. Yeah. I heard rumors
Hell yeah.
about it.
All right, gentlemen. So we're going to go a little over because we're just going to have to, but also we lost like 5-10 minutes earlier. So let's each do our bold prediction. We can discuss them a bit each because that's where the fun is. And what we're going to do, so make sure that you really believe this because we're going to check this bold prediction after E3, and then we're going to check it again at the end of the year. And, and
It has to be really out there, right?
Yes, but there has to be some reason that you believe it.
Okay. Cool.
And I mean, it can't just be like, I think Microsoft's going to go bankrupt. I mean, it can't be like shit like that.
Maybe they will.
No, not this year. Well, it's funny
Real
because
quick, Mark says Mike's one-up name would have changed to Blue Leon. And then you should check Square Enix page. That's where they have the deeper discounts for Square games. It's actually true. I have found a couple of great discounts over the page. They gouge you with the shipping prices, but the sale prices are pretty good.
If I was still a caveman and bought physical things, I would do that. Yeah.
Okay. They have some digital stuff too.
Good talk.
Anyway.
So yeah, we're gonna do bold predictions first, and then we're gonna do desperate hopes, and then we'll get some discussion, and then we'll call it a night. So, Anthony, what's your bold prediction?
So I think that Nintendo does a revised Switch bundle without the dock, and the reason that's significant is I think they finally kill off the 3DS. So meaning they kill off a separate handheld line.
Okay, hold on. Let me get some clarification. Is that only in the U.S. or is that worldwide?
That's worldwide.
Wow.
And I think that what makes them do that is if you eliminate the dock, I think that the Switch can sell for 200 or less. So that's around the price point that you're seeing like a new 3DS anyway. And with that, they can finally make all their efforts go to one studio. And I think that the reason that they do that now, that they didn't do it last year, is because the Switch is selling well enough to allow them to do it. I think that they were way too paranoid it was going to fail to do it right off the get-go.
Now, does the Switch without a dock itself have a refresh? Like, do they pull things out, make it smaller?
I think that they don't do that until maybe like 2019 before we see a real hardware revision, because they kind of rushed to get this out to begin with. And the fact that they still haven't fully caught up with demand, I just don't think that they have the time. The quickest thing that they do is remove the dock, sell it for 100 less.
Huh. Now, the dock is just a piece of plastic, right?
Yeah, but here's the catch. If you plug like an HDMI to like USB-C, you can't just do that and have the Switch output to the TV. There's something happening in that dock. I don't know what.
It's like having a gaming laptop and not having it plugged in versus having it plugged in. It just like unlocks the specs to go full ultra. So unless you have it taking power, it doesn't kick into like go into the full spec, which is what allows it to have the better frame rate and the resolution up to 1080p.
Unlimited power. Yeah.
Right.
Side note. So my son just found this behind the bed. It's an empty wrapper for cigars.
Okay.
And I am hard pressed to believe that what the contents of the cigars was what was actually smoked. You know, that's my bold prediction. No. What do you guys think about what Anthony's saying?
It's possible. I mean, Nintendo's known to like refresh their stuff to death every 2 years or so. So we'll see.
So
It could happen.
the thing I would amend is that you'll also be able to get different colors of switches. If they make it, you know, if they make a version that's like more or less just portable, you're going to be able to get it in pink and blue and red and you know.
That's,
and
if you count that as a hardware revision, but I'm saying I don't think that they'll make it smaller. They won't mess with the screen or the Joy-Cons or anything.
No, 2019 it goes smaller.
And then 2020 it goes bigger.
Oh man.
Switch Micro for 2019 and then 2020 is Switch XL.
Oh, there you go. Wow.
Yes.
Okay. Anything to add there?
No, I think it could be a possibility, but I think like Ernie said, they tend to switch things up. So maybe where they head next could be a completely different direction. You never know.
All right. So in my case, my bold prediction is that we kind of confirmation of a next gen console, either from Sony or Microsoft. I'm actually going to lean toward Microsoft just because the Xbox One and the X have not quite matched their expectations, perhaps. But yeah, I mean, because like think about it, like this is 2018. The Xbox One came out in 2013, and if we just hear about it this year, then the earliest replacement is 6 years old, or is replacing a 6-year-old system. Now we saw a longer life cycle this last generation, mostly because it was two outstanding machines between the 360 and the PS3. But I think that Microsoft, because they're Microsoft, and their thing now is to half-ass everything. Even though I love a lot of the stuff they do, and I love coding in C#, which is their proprietary language. Generation's been about half-assing everything and pulling the plug on stuff too early, or in this case, maybe a little too late. But yeah, I think that we see at least something about a new next generation console, maybe even from Sony, but like something that replaces a current box.
See, it's funny because I expect completely different from Microsoft. I think they go one of two ways, and neither of which I think is a new console. I think that they either lean in to making their video games successful, in which case they buy up a couple of studios and release the One X like bundled with VR or something to differentiate it. Or
No, they won't do VR.
Or this year, I think that they just pull the plug on their gaming division entirely.
Right
they
now,
won't pull they're in a weird limbo.
They won't pull the plug. They'll spin it off. Like they will sell it to somebody. They've like there's and granted it has. I don't think has it ever shown a profit. I don't think it has.
I bet during the 360 era they probably did.
I don't think so. I think that division has always been a loss leader. In fact, I remember when Nadella first took over as CEO for Microsoft, like from Ballmer, everybody was hammering him like, spin off the games division, get rid of it. And Microsoft is a services company now. So what they may do is they may even tack in the direction of EA. Provide services, it's going to be gaming, but you're not going to really buy games anymore. You're just going to buy like a license and then we'll just DLC you to death.
Well, I just think it's funny that they've managed to fail on both fronts. So the Xbox is failing against the PlayStation, and they tried to use it with the Play Anywhere to promote PC gaming, but it ended up killing the Xbox more because it meant if you already had a decent PC, you also didn't need an Xbox. but the only thing you're going to do on Play Anywhere is the games that are Xbox exclusive. You're still going to buy every other PC game on Steam. So it's like they just fail left and right.
Well, and we're getting a little far afield here, but I'll say their biggest failure this generation was their first party games. Look at where Sony has absolutely killed them. It's first party games. Uncharted, Bloodborne, Horizon Zero Dawn, and then there's stuff coming out next year that's only on PlayStation, like Detroit Become Human and Spider-Man and Dad of War, all that stuff. And Microsoft has another Forza, we're assuming. I'm looking forward to the next Horizon, but
and that's why I said I think they need to do. They're in a weird limbo state, and in your prediction on a new system, it's like I think it would be equally as likely that their next thing is no more system, and they just pull the plug. So
we'll see. Well, what are you gonna say, Ernesto?
No, I was just saying, me too. I'm also excited about Horizon 4 or whatever it is. But yeah, man, it was so sad to see like Microsoft not having a strong first first studio presence, and also like canceling so many projects like
Dragon,
the
Dragon
With the
one?
Dragon,
yeah.
Dragon one.
And there were a couple of others that you just straight up canceled. So it's like, oh man, why are you doing this?
You know, totally side note and totally unverified rumor. Playground Games, who does the Forza Horizon games, making Fable 4.
Huh.
And it's totally unverified, but I saw that rumor today, and I was like, "Oh, that's so interesting," because they are making a new game that's not a racing game. Like I think that they're doing the racing game too, but but yeah, they're
Maybe
hiring.
it's Fable Kart.
Oh, good lord. So on that note, Ernesto, what's your bold prediction aside from Fable Kart?
You guys have some pretty good ones related to hardware. I was more thinking about games. There's a prediction that I would have never made before, but last year I'm trying to look if I wrote this somewhere or where did I say it or who did I say it to. But I remember saying something like, it'd be awesome if this year they do like they did in the 2000s when they did a dual release of Metroid Prime and Metroid Fusion, and they announced a Metroid Prime for the Switch and a remake of Metroid 2 for the 3DS, and they freaking did it. And when I saw those announcements, I was like, oh my God! And nobody will believe that I said this. But
God, Metroid 2 is amazing.
Yeah. So going on that, like if that was possible, and I'm going, and what I'm basing this prediction on is Square Enix intent of like listening to their fans, giving them what they want, and really committing to releasing a lot of franchises. Like they're really excited about the Switch. They're releasing a lot of stuff on Switch. They say they have big plans for it. My prediction is they do a proper sequel to Final Fantasy Tactics.
Ooh.
And they release it for PS4, Xbox One, and Switch.
As long as it doesn't have a judge popping up on the battlefield and fucking handcuffing
No.
you.
I'm talking Final Fantasy Tactics PS1, and they bring in the original trio, Yoshida doing the art, Sakamoto doing the soundtrack, and then Matsuno directing.
No, not Matsuno will not be there. I can promise you.
Matsuno has worked with them a couple times. He worked on the Ivalice DLC for Final Fantasy 14.
Oh, that's true. You know.
So
well, and you know what? I bet a lot of the leadership that he didn't get along with is gone.
And he always wanted to make his next tactics game, and he failed to do so with the Kickstarter project. Like
it's still sort of alive.
It's still going on, but without him.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. I'm just. It's a bold prediction, right? I just really want.
You know what?
Happen.
If that happens, and they can't get Sakaguchi to come back and make a fucking proper game, I will never forgive the world. But I mean, because like Matsuno was run out during 12, like he was kicked, he was having health
Halfway.
issues, like, and then yeah, there's even that boss that's dedicated to him. I'm trying to remember what it's like. Yeah, it's something I don't know, but yeah, I never played it, so maybe I'll play it on PC when FF12 hits on February 1st. Damn, dude, like. So you're thinking that they'll do a Switch Final Fantasy Tactics 2?
Basically, yeah. It won't be necessarily 2, but it'll be like the sequel to it.
Yeah, because like A2, like for I think it was GBA,
Yeah.
was a good game except for the fact that the battles had that judge show up and be like, you can't use heal potions this time.
Yeah, they have a Final Fantasy Tactics Advanced for the GBA, and then they did A2 for the DS.
That's right. Yeah, because Advance was okay, but yeah, A2 was.
Well, don't forget also Final Fantasy 12 Revenant Wings.
Which that was such a weird game.
Yeah, RTS like.
Yeah, but like it was almost a MOBA before its time. Like.
Yeah. True enough. Yeah, I didn't think about that. But it's actually accurate.
All right, John, what's your bold prediction?
My bold prediction was that there's going to be some kind of breakthrough with VR, and that we're going to start seeing a lot more VR-based games. It's going to be like the thing to have coming around this year. You know what I mean? Like right now, I feel like it's kind of pitter patter. It's cool. It's a novelty, but I feel like there's going to be something that makes it more consumer friendly. You know, something that's going to make it huge. Bring it to the table.
Is it? What's that going to be?
I'm not sure exactly. I think it's going to be have to do with how they handle movement in VR. There's things like mechanics behind it specifically, because the things they've had to overcome so far, like frame rates, so people don't get motion sick. So I think, and they have trouble making people move around in games without getting motion sick. It's a lot of these problems developers are having. I think they're going to be able to tackle these, and it's going to open it up. And it's going to make it more interesting a platform for people to work with.
Because the Vive, something like there's a new Vive model just announced at CES. I don't remember what. I don't know. It's like Vive Premium or Vive Pro or something like that.
It's basically it's a 4K, and they got rid of the crappy controllers.
I don't think it's 4K though. I don't think it's true 4K. I think
they said something like that, but yeah, it's
maybe checkerboard.
Yeah, it's higher resolution image fidelity, and they scrapped the crappy controllers, but it's still tethered, at least everything I saw.
There is a wireless component that is optional. Like there's some like wireless backpack thing that you can do. But to John's point, like he said, that actually got me thinking, is people solving the movement problem with software rather than hardware. I don't know exactly what that would look like, but yeah, I mean, I know personally speaking, the biggest reason I haven't jumped into VR. I mean, I have the PSVR. I've never touched it. My son loves it. But yeah, and I've done PSVR elsewhere, and I've done the Vive. In every case, the teleport movement doesn't work for me. Like it doesn't make me sick. It just it's so
clunky.
It breaks immersion.
Yeah, that happened
like
to me with Resident Evil 7. Like I was really enjoying. I was talking before about like actually being scaled in that world and seeing the house so huge and the hallway so claustrophobic. But then the moving was like really clunky, and then if you were to turn, if you didn't do it with just turning your head and you had to move the stick, it would like move 30 degrees to the right. Felt like I was playing like Myst. I don't know, man. It was weird.
Interesting. Yeah, I badly need to play RE7 again. Actually, well, anyway, but that's interesting. Because a VR breakthrough, I mean, like that's one of those things. I mean, it's almost like being a Cubs fan before 2016. where it's like, well, maybe next year.
Yeah.
And there's not a promise there, and they're so close. But like for me personally, it's the movement thing. Not that it makes me sick. It's just the teleporting is so immersion breaking.
Mm.
Yeah, so interesting. Okay, let's do Desperate Hopes. So this is something that you badly want to happen this year, and maybe there's a shred of evidence it might, but it's something that would really rejuvenate the soul, and isn't terribly likely, but possible, if that makes any sense. So, Anthony, what you got?
So here's completely out of left field. I'll say my fake one because it's very St. Louis centered, and then my real one, just because
Okay.
John just brought up VR. So they started opening sort of to solve a lot of those issues that you just mentioned with VR. There's some company I was trying to look it up. I think they're called The Void, but they teamed with Disney to do that Star Wars thing that just opened. Where apparently,
Oh yeah,
yeah, that sounds amazing, but I'm never gonna probably get to travel to see it. So I would love if that type of thing starts catching on, much like escape rooms are sort of popping up all over the place. If they had like that type of true like VR gaming experience, if that started popping up like in a local fashion, that would be amazing because the biggest hurdle with VR is having a space that lets you move around. Like everything that I've heard is because I had the Vive, I returned it, I stuck with the Oculus. But a big part of that was I could not really do room scale. I don't have a big enough room to do it. And that solves a ton of issues I have with VR. I would absolutely love to get that experience, and having it get popular enough where something like that would open locally would be incredible.
that would help drive people to malls.
Hmm.
I mean,
Oh
I'm just
yeah,
saying, like,
if they opened it at a mall, it wouldn't last. So the original gaming one that I had, which is sort of funny because it ties into what Ernesto was saying, but I want Metroid to come out this year, and the way that I want that to happen is I want it to be a 2D game. If it's a 2D game, it could happen.
Yes.
nope.
And unfortunately, that's what I desperately want though, is I want it to be a 2D game. If it's a 2D game, I think that it would be able to come out this year. And I know it's not going to be, but hey, I'm piggybacking off of my bold, and I'm saying if they would just merge their handheld, those 2D Metroid games are incredible, and I would so much more enjoy the Metroid 2 remake on the 3DS if I could play it with a real controller on a TV. And also the SNES Mini having Super Metroid on it. God, that game is incredible. It's like why am I forced to play what I think is the peak Metroid on this cramped system? Like, let me play it on TV. So if we're talking about a desperate want, that would make my year.
Here's what's going to happen. You're not going to get any Metroid in 2018. Sorry, but 2019.
Also, we had a Metroid Prime last year, and it was called Doom.
Oh God. Well, except they had usable controls. But next year you're going to see Metroid Prime 4 and a remake of Super Metroid. Just saying. No, and it'll be like they'll both be on Switch, and like there'll be some kind of interplay between them. So there you go. That's not my bold prediction. I'm pulling that out of my ass.
No, it's just funny because at some point, like after Super Metroid, even like Zero Mission, they had the like remake of Metroid 1. Like both those were on Game Boy. They just didn't release them on the home consoles, and that was before Metroid Prime even existed. So it's just been so long. It's been since Super Metroid since we've been able to play the Metroidvania, so to speak, on a TV. And it's weird because it was right after that we had Symphony of the Night, and once again Metroidvania games. All the other Symphony of the Night Castlevania sequels were on handhelds. I don't know what it is about that genre.
And even Bloodstained, which is basically the next Castlevania, and I played the demo because I'm a backer. I love the demo, but it's been a while now, and I'm getting kind of worried. So yeah.
Yeah. And everyone yells at me when I say that the Japanese don't know how to do Kickstarter, but they don't. Sorry.
You know,
And I have a Japanese friend, so I'm not racist when I say that.
Isn't that
But
sort
yeah,
of,
I mean, no, go ahead.
no, I have a friend that's Japanese, so that means I can.
I know. I'm being
that's,
funny.
that's really what. Well, whatever.
Yeah. So Kensuke, if you're watching, love you. So my desperate hope, boy, this goes against everything that EA has said. Dragon Age 4 is announced this year and shown this year, but it's announced and it's shown at E3. Like just teased, even just something, and it's a return to form for the series. Like they can still do open world, but it's like I mentioned before, my opinion on Inquisition has slid.
Is it gonna be like
considerably.
one?
That would be nice, but it won't happen. I
Oh.
mean, I would love that, but there's no way that they would do that. It would be great. I'll tell you what though, if they took the combat from 1 and dropped it into Dragon Age 4, even if it's open world, I'd be happy as pig and shit. I mean, that would like as fixing the combat pretty much fixes Inquisition for me. It's just the combat in Inquisition is so dull, and it's because like my theory is that I think I said in a previous show, they wanted to streamline development for the multiplayer and the single player, and so they just made them have the same combat with the single player having a pause option. And you can see the same thing in Andromeda, except the pause option's not there. So yeah, that would be like my heart would sing. And then just below that would be Cyberpunk 27 actually being shown. But
Oh man,
you know.
I need that game in my life.
Yeah, me too. So what you got, man?
My only like indication of this being possible, and this is really far out there. I'm just gonna say it right now. But Nintendo's been saying that they're already working on the next Zelda. So my prediction is, well, it's not a prediction. Desperate hope is that they're gonna pull a Majora's Mask move. They're gonna use the same assets from Breath of the Wild, and then next year, like real quick, we'll have a smaller scale Zelda using the Breath of the Wild engine. It's gonna be a smaller world with proper dungeons, maybe 4 to 6 dungeons, not the smaller ones from Breath of the Wild, but actual Fire Temple, Forest Temple, that kind of thing. And it's gonna be a smaller game. It may not necessarily be like a Majora's Mask game, but it's gonna be along those lines.
Why would they do that?
Because they need money, man. And everybody loves Zelda. They're trying to cash in on it. They made this elaborate engine, working with different studios to learn what to do, what not to do, because they had no idea how to make an open world game. So they had a lot of consultants going to Nintendo and helping them out. People like people from the Xenoblade Chronicle games and stuff like that. They might as well use it again. They can just use the same engine and they just make it smaller scale, give people what they want. They just do regular dungeons, but keep the openness of Breath of the Wild.
To be fair, Nintendo has a history of doing this, but with Mario. So
Yeah.
if you think about 2D Marios, so they did it with Mario on the Wii U. They came out with like the Luigi U release, which they did as a standalone and DLC. They did it with Mario Galaxy 2 after Mario Galaxy that came out pretty soon after. So I would venture that it would be more likely they did that with Mario Odyssey 2 than with Breath of the Wild. But I would rather have another Zelda. I think it would be interesting to see it. I'd definitely be hyped for that, to go back to the old formulaic approach. But
I think you're more likely to see a full blown proper expansion than like I don't want to say a lesser game, but like a smaller one. Just because
I
like
would
so
say
many
that-
people will bitch, people will lose their minds, like, and they'll be, oh, I don't know.
I would say the expansion route, if they hadn't just pumped out two really quick DLC things, because Nintendo, I just don't think has a handle on that type of approach yet. So
Yeah, no, I mean, we'll see. I mean, like,
They already said that they fully moved on from Breath of the Wild. They're already working on the next Zelda. So
okay. Well, and you know, they've got Metroid Prime 4 coming next year, I'm going to guess. And
yeah,
then,
but
so what's the
Nintendo's not developing it though.
right? I mean, is it retro?
They haven't said yet. My guess is Namco.
Okay.
Namco.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
That's
you
what
mean
I'm
like what was that
Um,
they did? Other M? Was that?
No, they work
No.
on the Smash Bros. Games.
Yeah, Other M was
Ninja, Team Ninja? Team Ninja.
Team Ninja. Thank you.
Okay.
So, John, what's your desperate hope?
My desperate hope is that they do not mess up Destiny 2 this year. I hope that they
Man.
that the DLCs bring out a lot to the table, and you know they just really hit this one out of the park. That's what I hope.
The perfect note to end this on. Please don't fuck up Destiny. Wow, that's hilarious,
I really want to
man.
love Destiny, guys. Just give me content.
Well, and I'll tell you what, like Anthem, like EA is sitting there going, "Please fuck up Destiny. Please fuck up Destiny," and you have both Destiny 2 and Battlefront 2 to learn from. And even though
Yes.
it depends on who you ask, you know, Bungie and Activision have either righted the ship or they've completely sunk it. Like there's no middle ground.
There isn't.
So that's interesting. So okay, we are
All right.
like 20 minutes over.
Oh,
Next
20 minutes
week.
over.
What?
We're 20 minutes over. Wow.
Yeah. So next week, for one, it'll be an easier show because all we're talking is what you're playing, and then maybe a smaller topic with that. So we're not going to be so compressed. But
Chris
two,
says, but will they learn? I'm guessing he's talking about
Yeah.
Activision.
Well, have we determined if like EA or Activision is capable of learning?
well, you know what? Anthem will answer that for EA, and then Destiny 2 will answer that for Activision. And bear in mind too, like, you know, while EA was fucking themselves with Battlefront 2, and you know, on top of that, you're getting the usual kind of you know, frenzied, angry horde that acts to everything. Activision actually had a pretty nice winter with Call of Duty. So, you know, take that for what it's worth. Because and really, honestly, the problem may not be with Activision. I mean, I love Luke Smith, and he was awesome at 1UP, but maybe 4K.
Well, see, one of the big things
Um,
specific to Destiny, one of the big things that I heard though, like the complaints, was that like by the end, Destiny 1 was good. It's just they wanted more content. So they had patched it, was barely reminiscent of the initial release. But then when they went to 2, the cycle on 2's development meant that they only incorporated, let's say, 50% of those improvements to 1. So you end up getting this weird game that's not even quite as good as where 1 ended up. And it's almost like they're just saying, no, just give us a year and a half to patch this one up to where, you know, it's going to take the first 6 months to get it up to where 1 really was at the end. And then the extra year is to actually release new shit for you to play.
I'm not sure that that type of game is ever going to work, honestly. Like, I played a little bit of Destiny. I played a little bit of Destiny 2. And I know, John, like, I know you like it. But my takeaway from it is that it feels like a game that's a whole bunch of disjointed parts all stapled together, and each of those parts focus tested well. And then someone just stapled them together and said, okay, here you go. And the other thing too with the original Destiny, I don't know if this is the case with 2, is that I would run into parts and I'm like, I could tell that something was just hacked off here. There used to be something here and it was just like, like surgically cut off.
Hmm.
And, but like I said, I'm not even sure that these kinds of games work. I will find out with Anthem because Anthem will be the first one that I really, really, really try to like.
Well,
because I
would
desperately-
counter that. What if KOTOR, or not KOTOR, but the Old Republic?
SWTOR? Yeah.
What if you could play the Old Republic bounty hunter, but as a proper first person shooter?
No interest.
So
Sorry.
I mean,
I would play a first person shooter bounty hunter game, but I don't want it to be an MMO.
I'm just saying I think it could work. It's because MMOs, the gameplay is often not the strong point.
I won't disagree with that, but
And I'm
I
not
don't
in
know.
a
We're
first-person
already
shooter.
over. Let's. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
saying a first-person shooter is the way to deal with it, but I think it is
I know
a
what you're saying.
potential.
I know what you're saying. But yeah, let's wrap this up for the week. So
All
yeah,
right.
so next week it'll be a much easier show because there'll be less content and we'll be able to actually like hash things out even more. 2, we will not have the technical issues for once. No echo and
That's a hell of a bold
so that's my final bold prediction is that next week will be smoother from a technical angle because we have not yet had a show that didn't have some kind of fuck up like that.
Bold prediction or desperate hope?
Yeah. God, a bit of both, honestly. So we'll be back next week. Ernesto will be back on the stream for lunch tomorrow, and then I will figure out when I'm going to do some stuff from the show floor at PAX South, and it'll be a good time. So Ernesto, you doing Cuphead tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm doing Cuphead. I hope I don't bore anybody by trying the dragon over and over
Salty
again.
sessions.
We'll see how it goes.
Awesome, dude.
And
So
I'm
I
looking
obviously won't be
into
watching.
what else to stream now that I have the capture card. But I'm still thinking about it. There's a lot of stuff I could try. I was thinking about Mega Man X, maybe Mario Odyssey. So
I want to see Kingdom Hearts. That's my vote.
Okay, all right.
Well, just because like seriously, I barely know anything about it, and it would be interesting to actually watch someone play it. So
Maybe I could do like 1, 2,
Anyway.
and Bird by Sleep, and that's it.
okay. So that being said,
All right.
everybody say goodnight.
Night, guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you, the guys in the comments. Thank you so much. Hopefully, we didn't miss anybody.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys, in the comments. Thanks for stopping by, everybody.
Yeah, both of you were much appreciated.
I like 3.
So, we got 3. Okay, so that's it. Oops, and there's my son. Yeah. Okay. Good.